order, and ask everyone to please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
George Andrews,
Ready.
Jason Goldstrand,
Present.
Keith Parcott,
Present.
and Debbie Keeler. Present.
Thank you. All present. Moving right along, the adoption of the agenda. Motion to adopt this agenda for November 17th with members of the committee reserving the right to add to the agenda, take further action as the committee deems appropriate.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving right along, motion to approve the minutes for September 15th. There was no policy committee meeting in October.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Policy review, policies for discussion. First off, let's go to that page now. It says, yeah, payments. Okay. First off, we have policy number 832, which is a new policy. It's basically do we have to read the whole thing? It's basically saying we want to take credit card payments.
Correct. Online payments. Yep.
Is there an explanation of why we want to take credit card payments?
Sure, it's way safer than cash. And it's easier for accounting purposes and nobody has to count the cash and we don't have to worry about cash going missing or deposits or moving cash and bringing cash down to the office.
So we're accepting for everyone, like it plays everything then, or everywhere?
We're going to allow the option.
Okay.
And then try to move away from it, yes.
How will that work in our campuses that have lack of cell phone coverage area?
It's a great question.
Well, are we hoping that?
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. How do they get on the Wi-Fi?
Parent and family, if people have their Apple Pay thing that they're gonna use their credit card for and they can't get coverage, is that? And that's,
The cards you saved in your wallet are coded into the device, and when the device that's receiving that scan recognizes the transaction, that device has to transmit it for the clearinghouse. So any device that we would have accepting the payment would have to have Wi-Fi connection.
correct, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, just
So-
the accepting device. So if your device loses signal up there, but yet you still have your card on here, it will still take the card as if you took it out of your wallet, whether or not this device has signal, and allow the device that's receiving it to
Okay.
transmit it. So those are the ones we'll make sure we have there.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead of the committee. I just had those
No,
questions
yeah, that's
asked.
fine.
They were
But
pressing
we-
questions.
but
Any
we-
other questions?
Well, I'm just saying, but we did approve. Was it the AT&T?
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
But that's not the
So-
only, I mean, there's still T-Mobile and there's still other companies that we have not.
Well, they
included yet.
usually run off the backbone of
Correct.
those other companies.
So can we use our credit card for the Wizards?
Not yet. We don't have the policy in place.
And,
We can tomorrow morning, George.
and you
No,
still,
that's not the way policy works, Mr. Karka.
you can still pay with cash.
Yes, for now.
We're still,
For now.
okay, are we
I-
gonna become a cashless
I don't agree
district
with
eventually?
that.
Well, we will make that decision when we.
When that gets there, okay. Okay, so this is just to talk about credit cards, Debbie, not cash. We'll handle that when.
This is just to allow the option, so I can tell you personally,
I always
speaking, I
like
don't ever carry
options.
cash.
Options are good.
I always say cash is king.
I was going to say it, but I read your mind and let you do
And
it.
that's why that Debbie, we think alike. We're old. Any other discussion on the credit card?
Nope.
I think it's a good option. Let me put it that way.
No, it's a good option.
I just don't
You
think
should
it's the
have
only option, but I think it's a good option.
Does that mean they can
And
Venmo?
more and more people are.
No,
to
it's
credit
not
cards.
specifically Venmo. We will establish what the online payment system is. Because the issue we're having is that some people are doing Venmo into their personal accounts.
Mhm.
And that is not a good accounting practice
No.
for us. So we're trying to get away from that and allow for online transactions.
Okay.
Moving right along, policy 100. Actually, policy 101, right? 101?
Correct?
Which is vision statement / mission statement, formerly mission statement / vision statement, shared values. we are striking the authority, we are striking the mission statement, striking the old vision statement and all the shared values and replacing it with today's vision statement, which which is maximizing today's potential for tomorrow's success. And then listing our mission statement as we changed it. And we have a policy for it. We had a policy for this, so we're just updating the policy. Any questions on that?
Nope.
And it's a mighty good vision and mission statement. Thank you to our administration for doing such a fine job at that.
Saves paper.
Saves paper.
Smaller.
Next is 202, which is policy tenants eligibility.
I'm gonna speak on this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because there's nothing really
So we
except
are
a couple things.
deleting a paragraph, which is a really important paragraph. So, I don't even know what page it is, but
It's like the third.
under former residents, there's a paragraph under number 5 that used to say on all cases, superintendent. To allow students who are leaving the district for 6 weeks or less to continue enrollment. What was happening was that students who are traveling outside of the country for 4, 5, 6 weeks are falling under this. And the reality is that they're true. They're not here. We can't move them to Osaka because Osaka currently at this stage of Osaka is not an easy transition from curriculum because we use the Edgenuity platform. So in 4 weeks' time, they're transferring to Osaka, hopping on that platform. But the reality is that they're not residents. Residency goes by where you lay your head at night. They're in another country. If they're in another country for 4, 6 weeks, they should be registering in that country because that is where they're residing. So what we're trying to do is to prevent a high level of truancy and students who are out of our actual area for weeks on end. The spirit of this was for educational instability. We will still allow students who are experiencing educational instability through homelessness or foster because McKinney-Vento allows it. This is no longer needed because McKinney-Vento protects those students.
So what happens to those people?
They should be enrolling in the school district that they're living in.
When it's a temporary basis?
Well, it might be a temporary basis. We have a family who went to Ecuador for a few weeks and they're still there, and that was in September. But they're not where you lay your head at night. Like even in it, it says that they have to transport them. Well, they're not. What they were asking to do was to move into Osaka. But if you're already transitioning their educational platform from brick and mortar to a whole new curriculum, a whole new platform, they should be just transferring them to a whole new platform and wherever they're residing for that level of support.
So
Events temporary?
That was my question.
So they're claiming it's temporary.
You know,
So a lot of the reason of why, and not to get into the specifics, but this happens because of visas, that they have to go back. We're not there is no guarantee they're getting a visa to return to our country. So we don't know that it's temporary.
but if it's, let's say for 5 or 6 weeks or so, then gets out to 10 weeks. Maybe we should talk at 10 weeks, they can't do it.
But what's the difference between 5 weeks and 10 weeks?
Well, they
If it was
they come
10
back-
weeks, they could have been there for 10 weeks. Now, after 10 weeks, we're going to move them. Maybe it's only 3 more weeks that they come back. They're always going to say it's just a few more weeks.
I understand, but if we put a date on it, but 6 weeks, let's say, but if they are going temporary, we should put a time limit on, it, shouldn't we?
Well, I mean,
It
it is 10 days out of school. If you're not here and you're absent, then they are disenrolled. We should be following that.
I understand what you're saying, but yeah. I guess.
So this correction to the policy is saying that if you aren't in our area, no matter what, you don't, this is taking away, the previous policy gave someone 6 weeks. We're giving them no other than 10 days you're out, like,
Well, above, there are things for former residents, so there are 5 enumerated situations. We're just taking
Have
out
to get approved.
these 6-week clause.
I want to make sure.
I think
it's not
that's-
the-
so
the
if my, okay,
educational- I'm sorry, Keith.
go ahead, no, you go, Deb.
The educational trips are a pre-approved type of thing.
Correct.
So,
No more than 10 days.
so 10 days at a run,
Correct. 10 school days.
10 total.
But what if the
Total in a year. I think, is it 5 days in one shot?
Right. We also took a deep dive into history in our policy. This clause that sits in policy 202 now predates the current applications of our policy 251, which Dr. Vitale spoke about, the educational instability policy. That addresses homeless, foster, emergency removal. And just under homeless alone, there are dozens of criteria that would extend to someone greater than 6 weeks' time, the ability to stay in the LEA in our district. So this appeared to have come from a time that we can find no state reference to, no requirement for, that the district used to predate the application of all of those other provisions that are now there. And it overspoke them, it overlapped with them. So it allowed individuals who are not in any of the legitimate criteria or pockets carved out by the law to look at this particular clause and say, well, I'm just going to be displaced for 6 weeks. When in reality, if we looked at the term displaced, they're probably not even displaced. They're just leaving, going on an unapproved educational trip or tour, if you would, for that period of time, which would result in absences. But unless we're going to pursue compulsory attendance and keep them on the rolls during that time, we have to withdraw them according to the state code on day number 11 or at the end of day 10.
And then it honestly impacts our truancy
It ain't, yeah, it
and our
does.
attendance.
So, okay, so we just clarified that the state gives us 10 days. Is that's 10 days of unexcused absences in a row or at 10 days period?
The state, so when you say they give us 10 days, what the state says is if you are absent for 10 consecutive days, you can be unenrolled or disenrolled from a school district. Now, that is not field trip, or if they've communicated illness with us, that's if we haven't heard from them and they're not attending school.
Unlawfully absent for 10 consecutive days, they have to be withdrawn unless we're pursuing compulsory attendance, which we can only do if they're in the district and not attending school. So that becomes the conundrum. You have someone who's left for more than 10 days. They're not here being educated. We're not allowed to keep them on the rolls past the 11th day because we're receiving subsidy for educating a student that we can't.
What if they?
So here's a hypothetical question. Student A has a parent that is in the military and has to go with his parent because he's a single father for more than 6 weeks for something that is out of the father's control, but the father is responsible for the child. That was why I thought we allowed long, like 6 weeks. I mean, I thought that's what we had it. So that basically, if that parent addressed our school district that said, listen, I cannot do, we would not work with that child. That child would have to be disenrolled.
Why wouldn't that child go to the education on the military base? And typically, it's not a 6-week deployment.
I'm just saying there are special okay, let's put it differently.
So we can do a million different circumstances. What we're
Okay.
saying
In which case,
is this is covered under educational instability. If we have situations, and listen, we all got into this because we care about children. So we are not going to be unkind to children, but we certainly have a duty to say what is best for the child. If the child is transitioning, if the families, and it's coming about once a week, that families are asking us to transition from brick and mortar to ESASD because they're going to be out of the country for 6, 7, 8 weeks. It's literally about once a week that is happening. Well, if they're already transitioning from their current curriculum to another curriculum, they should just be transitioning where they're laying their head at night because they're actually not a resident of the district during that time. And although they're claiming it's temporary, perhaps it is, perhaps they're back in 5 weeks. We will do everything we can to bring them up to speed, but it doesn't, even that gap, if they're going to ESASD, there's still not a continuity of education. So if we're disrupting their education already, might as well just disrupt it and they get educated in the location that they're living.
be simple enough, they can just enroll in a charter school.
I would argue that they're not a resident at that point and I wouldn't pay their tuition.
They would be factually present. And Mr. Carcutt, to your point, policy 254 addresses all of the military
Yeah.
families, very specific to what Pennsylvania allows for them, and there's quite a bit of accommodation there.
But you.
Okay, let's place it on a different, say student B has family displaced in a different country who maybe a relative has passed away and the mother or father of that child has to go to said country for an extended period of time to close out maybe a parent's estate or something like that, and it's more than 2 weeks. Or it's more, that would not be allowed, we would not work with that child either.
If it's more than 2 weeks, they should be enrolling in that school district.
Will we assist them?
Always.
Well, let me ask you if,
Why wouldn't we?
Well, would you assist them in another country so that they get the
We would
connection?
help them transition.
Even though the plan is they are coming back within 2-3 weeks, guaranteed. We would just.
Love guaranteed.
Well, I know of a case where it happened and I mean, you can't, I understand what you're trying to, I understand what you're saying. We're getting maybe walked all over.
And listen, if you as a board don't agree with this policy, that's fine. But I am just suggesting that we need to do something for a continuity of education, because what is happening right now is we're paying for seats in Edgenuity every time this happens. And again, it's once a week. And then in 5-6 weeks, they're coming back or they're not. And now we're just extending, and then it becomes almost a residency issue. And at what point is it a residency issue? A marking period, a semester?
But this policy is saying, but up to 6 weeks. It was limiting up to 6 weeks.
Mhm.
So
Right,
if
so for-
said student was absent after 5 weeks and 6 weeks, 5 weeks in 1 day, 6 weeks in 1 day. I'm sorry, 6 weeks in 1 day. Then we could.
Right, and then we've
And-
paid for a seat for Edgenuity for them.
No. I think
No, we
this
have.
policy says after
Wait.
6 weeks, I think this I can't read what it will.
But for 6 weeks' time, we've paid for Edgenuity for them. We have enrolled them in our cyber academy, which has a cost, right?
I
Edgenuity has a
get,
cost.
I get that.
So for 6 weeks, we've enrolled them, we've paid for that seat, and now 6 week and a day, we're disenrolling them. Why are we waiting?
Because there are some situations that arise in these children's lives. Obviously, we have a lot of transient students that come and go. They could be here today and gone tomorrow.
Sure.
And it's common. But there are situations that there are situations that arise in a child's life that there may be some situation. By taking this out, we're just saying, nope, sorry, not acceptable. Without
And
this
if you want to
gives.
continue the practice that we're doing, that is fine. You as a board have tasked me with looking at policy and making financially responsible decisions. That is what we're attempting to do here. And the reality is that they're still changing their educational placement. They're going from brick and mortar to Edgenuity. If they're already disrupting their education, why disrupt it more or in a different way, just have them enroll where they're going?
so I just want to make sure I have this right.
Yeah.
So if, like example Keith gave, and we're under the assumption that these are all out of country, which
They might not be.
doesn't have to be.
They could be out of state.
Right, so if the parent claims residency to this LEA, and as Keith said, they need to take care of the only child of a parent who deceased, and it might take them 2 weeks to get the affairs in order, and they have to take their child with them. This policy is saying that child will no longer be part of the district.
In effect, yes, but also, I mean, for this poor child whose family is passing away, we've also had family reach out and say, the child's grandmother is in hospice, so I need to go take care of them. Well, okay,
But my
hospice
address
could be
is
here.
here and I'm paying school tax here.
And there's a lot of people that pay school taxes, but they don't reside here.
No, I'm just saying specifically for a
Right,
case like with
but-
your child.
But even if, so think of a home, we consider residency by where you lay your head at night. A majority of the time, actually, it's every night. If you're gonna go by the 1302, it's every night. Where do you lay your head at night? So where are they laying their head at night? We have a lot of homes where people pay taxes, but they do not lay their head at night in that home.
Well,
Then they are not a resident.
They're not considered maybe their primary residence, but I'm thinking of someone who has their primary residence here is in the same boat that Jason's talking about. That would be a temporary type of thing.
And if you as a board don't agree with this, that's fine. Just say no.
I'm just thinking that this gives an opportunity for people to have a chance to request, and this is not, and this basically, in all cases, applications must be made to the superintendent through the school principal. All this is saying is, in all cases, it's opening up a thing that it just has to be presented for a case. And you, as you as superintendent can still say, no, I don't accept
And
this.
when we start accepting some and not accepting other, we're opening
Big
ourselves
little
up for
problem.
inconsistency and treating people differently for different circumstances. And it becomes a very, very difficult situation.
And I guess, are we assuming that when this does occur, that the go-to to allow them to not be absent is to provide ESACA? Because otherwise they're still absent, we're in that conundrum.
There are those situations where they are just absent, where they're out for 6 weeks.
And oftentimes
But-
those are medically excused, that's fine, because they can stay on the rolls then because it's excusable. But when they just disappear for more than 10 consecutive days, we either have to pursue compulsory attendance if we can.
Well, I can understand your point. If they just disappear from existence and we can't locate them,
That's a whole.
that's a whole nother story. But if someone of responsibility, a parent, a guardian comes to us and says, listen, I'm in this situation and I need some help here to handle this situation, we're saying, no, sorry, our policy says no. You don't live here, we can't help you. I think we need to exercise some compassion and some leniency on, because I know of a situation that this happened in our district and I don't think it's, I don't know. I don't see what,
I guess I'm just
So instead of
asking,
getting frustrated, just saying
I'm
no.
not frustrated.
yeah,
If there is a,
So,
I'm
but
just
so,
concerned.
so I
there
do
has to
exercise
be
a
an
lot
out of the
compassion.
box.
I know you.
So I just would
but-
like to
but this-
respectfully, I would like to respectfully say, we do exercise a lot of compassion. However, every single student has a story. Every single family has a challenge. So if we start allowing all of that, policies aren't just going to exist. So at a certain point, we have to have expectations for what residency is and who we are educating. And when students are out, so Eric's example is great. So when a student is out for 5 weeks, it impacts us.
Okay,
It
so
impacts our school profile. It impacts us.
maybe we change the 6 weeks to 10 days. And give them a right to appeal. I just think we need to give an opportunity for these folks to give their case, then just say, sorry, you're out. Because you know what, it's a student that suffers. The student suffers.
You said we,
But the student could be coming back and forth, it could be bouncing. He's 5 weeks and then he's back, or 6 weeks and he's back, or 4 weeks. So, you know, if we're gonna have him back and forth, that's a problem I see.
That's a problem too.
Yep.
It is.
That we have occurring, but yeah. It's not the kid's fault, basically.
With every policy, you can think of one student in one situation that it really impacts a student's life and the policy is not supportive with the student. In every single policy we have, you can think of that one outlier of, gosh, if we didn't have this policy, we could help this kid better. And I understand that. And when we're dealing with kids and emotions and families and situations, it's very, very cumbersome. This is my recommendation. It's happening on the regular and people are leveraging this. As the superintendent, I'm not comfortable saying yes to you because I believe your story, but no to you because I don't actually believe your story.
I guess I was just, the reason I was asking, the point of where I was headed with my question was, it implies that the student has to be educated. That's the whole point. They can't be uneducated for 6 weeks. And if the go-to has up to this point been ESACA, the game changer is the cyber reform. Because now when that becomes effective, a student is not able to transfer into a virtual program any longer on the whim. especially if they already have enough absences on the record over the entire year to merit habitual truancy, which means we wouldn't be able to allow them. So if the policy stays the way it is, that'll be the next challenge, just like a little look down the road, is when that legislation that was just passed becomes effective. We're going to not be able to just take every student and say, okay, you're gone wherever for 6 weeks. Let's put you in a SACA. The only way they would be able to be put there if they're habitually true is with a judge's order. So there's another layer to that, just to be mindful of as we're thinking about this.
So when you mentioned earlier about the 10 consecutive days, is that part of our policy or state policy
10 consecutive days that a
for
student.
automatic withdrawal?
That is the state law. So the regulations in chapter 11 speak to that. And it means that if a student is here and we know that they're in the district and they're just not attending school, we have to pursue compulsory attendance. So we're filing the citations with the magistrate, we're making the children and youth referral and so forth. If we go out and we can't serve a parent because they're not here, they've left the district, the empirical observation by the school police officer is they're gone. Even if they told us where, whether it's New Jersey or whether it's Canada, we can't pursue compulsory attendance. So we're not able to keep that student on the rolls as a district for subsidy beyond the 10th day. We have to.
So if a student, say their parent doesn't make an arrangements or reaches out to the superintendent or building principal, and it's been 10 days and it's assumed that they're wherever they might be outside of the district, but yet their primary residency is still, right? Do we send certified letters to the residency? Okay, so we're acknowledging that their permanent residency is still within our district and we're sending those letters to the.
Well, it's the only way for us to try to communicate.
Of course. So after those 10 days, whether they are in state, in country, in wherever, we can still move forward with removal of that student based upon. Okay, so the only time that this specifically is addressed is when it's brought to your the matter's brought to you or to the assistant super or to the building. And there's no guidelines or legislation from the state level that says that those students are not truant. Correct?
Well,
So
if they're not in school, they're true.
But there's
Without an
nothing,
excuse
there's
action.
nothing from the state. There's state mandated that after 10 days you can be removed, but there's nothing from the state that says if a student is moved somewhere else outside, like we're seeing this issue here, right? And they're saying we're out of country or we're out of state. There's nothing that gives the districts leeway from the state that says, okay, since you know these students have extenuating circumstances outside of their ability to deal with, we will give you X number of days that they're not truant. So the state sets the parameter for the 10 days and then cut, but sets no parameter for any days past that if a student is out, even if they report the information to the
That is
district.
my understanding.
Right, and so-
Be on our rolls past the 10th.
Right, and so I understand the issue that is presented to the district because attendance, it's, it's a huge issue. So how do you, because I know Keith has his concerns, you have your concerns because you deal with it every day. And the 10 days of not being told, it makes complete sense. Because you don't know where the child is.
I can understand that. I can understand if they're absent without any kind of communication that we say, yes, we have to do this. But if we have someone that comes, I understand your point, Dr. Vitale, that we know, and they may be still communicating with us, but we know they're not here. We know that. I'm just trying to figure out, is there a way that anything can be done? Because there are situations that arise in a child's life. Okay, let me ask you another hypothetical question. Said student C is sick and has to go to the hospital, CHOP,
Temporary medical.
but not
Right.
but not in Pennsylvania. They have to go to
Yep.
Danny Thomas Hospital in Texas.
Temporary
Texas.
medical excusal, and Dr. Bukowski's office manages that and makes sure.
Okay, so
that
that's
they're
we have that,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Absolutely.
Let's see, what makes that situation different than my family, I'm a single parent with no options for my children, and I have to go handle a very important scenario in my family. But that's okay. We can't. That's
I
not
figured it out.
what.
Go ahead.
They
Go
stay with Maggie until they get back.
No, I listen, from an educational standpoint,
Well, I mean, Steve lives in the district, so they should really.
he's got three rooms.
Since you talk about.
Oh, no,
and then
I got a bed for you.
Well, here's the problem, Keith. My concern is the amount of time that the student is out of an educational setting,
Mhm.
whether it be cyber or brick.
But in some cases, it's less than 6 weeks. In the case that I'm talking about, it was about 14 days, and the students are back in the district as promised.
But 6 weeks of learning loss and
I
depending
get
on what
that.
grade is
So I'm
tremendous.
asking, maybe we change it from 6 weeks to the state to say 10 days without permission. There just has
But
to be
in
some
your
kind of.
scenario, then they're still
See how
thrown
that-
out after.
Well,
day
no,
10.
but there's
Ecuadorian
kind
education is going to-
I'm just saying, with your scenario, they're still.
not if, but I'm asking for some consideration.
Do we think Ecuadorian education is going to match this?
Even Texas or
I-
it doesn't. it could
I
be
am
anything,
not
it doesn't
making a
matter.
judgment or value statement on anybody's educational entity other than East Stroudsburg Area School
Right.
District.
Okay,
But-
I mean, but that's a conundrum.
6 weeks is a
One is
really
the
long time.
word all-
6 weeks is a very long time.
And
So you were saying the ingenuity and then, or going to a soccer. Oh, we pay for ingenuity, is that what we,
Yes.
that'll do,
Yeah, that's our platform.
huh?
Yes, that's our platform.
No. But if they go to a soccer, is that ingenuity?
Yes.
Yeah, we have to pay, we pay
Yes.
for that.
That's the platform we use. We do not teach our curriculum at ISACA. We use Edgenuity and use most of
Their
it.
platform in this soccer.
And that is what Edgenuity is.
That's what.
Current.
Either way, we pay for the student, if they're, either way, if they're still in the books and we. and
But
they-
Edgenuity is an additional cost for instance.
the challenge is when this was
Well,
put
that-
in the
that would
policy
be-
language,
That would.
the electronic learning platforms weren't even.
They weren't even,
a thought.
correct.
And then we also had, the real reason it was there is we had students and others that would be displaced from the district for house fire, flood, what have you. And they would be in Stroudsburg, Pocono Mountain, and the parents would just drive them back as the policy stated.
Okay, okay, that's a good example. Say their house
But
burned.
that's educational instability.
Right,
which
so
is
what I was
policy
gonna say, yeah, 251. So
251.
what happens
So
is,
a family death does not instability?
no,
No.
so, the federal law and state law are
Anywhere
clear.
else.
And what I was gonna say is that while
Those
this
value
policy.
statements are really offensive, just so you know. We do care. We
And
do
I'm not
care.
saying, I'm not saying we don't
I know,
care.
but you've
I
pointed
care
out that
about-
we're not compassionate and we don't care.
I
These
didn't
are
say, I
things
didn't
that,
really insinuate that.
these are things that people listen to and we don't want to give that impression that we don't
I'm
care
not-
about families or children.
I know we care.
Yep.
That's why I'm fighting for this, because I
Yeah.
care.
If there was knowledge ahead of time that this was going to happen, would that give a lead time to have a child be able to transfer to the ISACA program because you knew that the guy is gonna go for military, whatever, and I'm just using that.
Yeah, yes.
Then.
If
and-
that's what the family wants, absolutely.
Because then they
Or
might be gone.
that
for
kind of
6 weeks
instability.
Or something.
I wanna bring everybody's attention to third line, I think it's the second sentence. However, the parent or guardian is required to provide or arrange for necessary transportation,
Right,
which means they're still attending school. So in our example of a death in the family, or I had to go, are they still requiring and providing transportation to school
Well,
every day?
and-
Or are they truant?
Hence, Mr. Forsyth's statement that this was done before ISACA
Correct.
was even.
But in the whole clause, the expectation is that if I allow this, they are still getting them to school for that 6 weeks of time.
So that's a lot of plane flights.
And for the
Yeah.
educationally unstable students, where back in the day, it might have been your house burned, you got 6 weeks, which you can't do anything in an amount of time. Policy 251, that can now go on for years. So the compassion that's expressed through that policy to those in educational instability, truly, we're going and picking up students in Stroudsburg School District now going on the second year because they're still waiting for the insurance money to come through.
We're picking them up, even though
Absolutely.
it says they have to transport them.
Policy
Educational
251,
instability.
because the other policies now step in where this paragraph once carried. And it does so in a grander way.
Well, I don't know how the committee wants to address this. I don't,
Well, I think we've discussed it. I think you make a decision when we get to whether you're moving forward to the board or not.
and this is the only option that administration is proposing, to strike this. There's no
That
other way
is,
of.
so we have spent months on this, and this is what we have decided that we are recommending.
I think
That
that,
I want to be, that I am recommending.
I think the misconception is that we're striking this without having any other
Support
Options.
system.
support systems in the
Right.
way. And there are a tremendous number of systems that are already in place and other policies that cover this portion. It just seems like this portion was written in a time, as we mentioned, before cyber existed and
Correct.
before.
And the intent of this was for educational instability.
Correct.
But people are leveraging this with different intents now, and it's impacting us. So we're saying what the spirit of this was is already covered
In other policies.
in other policies and other support systems. So this can be disbanded. So that's really the genesis.
So it cannot be taken advantage of.
Correct. Yes.
And where do we say, and I don't know, where do we say if you anticipate a longer than 10-day time period out of the district, that provisions can be made to transfer to Osaka?
Well, we don't
Ahead of
specifically say
time.
that.
That's
But
that's
when-
what I think.
When
is
the
meant.
families reach out to us, we're having those conversations.
But should we not have at least some
I mean, we
inkling
can,
of that
we can
somewhere?
add that language, but families are not hesitating to reach out now.
Well, I just feel it makes it more complete. In my heart, I will feel better.
Okay.
I don't know about anybody else's.
It doesn't cover you.
Just
I
mine.
worry about your heart, so yes, we want your heart to feel better.
I just think there are cases where, I mean, I don't know, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand why the reason we're doing this, we're proposing to do this is, but I don't think that there should be some kind of leniency for, I mean, we have so many policies right now. If you're homeless, if you're instability for a house fire,
It's just education.
right, well, if you have a situation in your family that requires you to go because your mother says you have to come with me because I have no other option for you, that's instability too for that child. So we need to look at instability. We need to be compassionate. I'm not gonna use that word, I'm sorry. We need to be more concerned with looking at the instability of that child. If we have a policy that says if you have an instability of education, and I gotta look at that policy. I didn't know, I'm gonna review that policy.
Okay.
But, okay, let's move on and I guess we'll decide in a few minutes.
Yes.
Thank goodness it's only 3 lines.
Policy 214 talks about class rank, and we are taking out level 1, level 2, and level 3,
For
and
elective courses only.
for elective course only. So that's not going to be involved in class rank.
So I had a question about it.
Andy, you're up.
Are you ready? And I'm sure it's real simple and I'm overanalyzing this.
Don't make promises.
Now, when we're talking about level 1, level 2, level 3 in elective courses, we have plenty of elective courses in history, in English. And so we're not just talking about elective courses like family consumer science. And so when we talk about like an elective course like multivariable calculus 3, right? Do we say now it's no longer valued at the higher weight? I mean, it's the highest math we give. So
That would be weighted at the honors level.
multivariable calculus, even though you need AP.
So,
A,
so
B, and B,
where,
and C?
so anything labeled AP would be given that
Of course.
AP track. So where this level 1, level 2, and level 3 comes in. So public speaking 1 would be given an applied value. Public speaking 2 would be given the CP value. Public speaking 3 would be given the honors value.
Well,
So
say for
un-
band,
that is given the same value throughout. You
So-
don't get an increased value each year you take band because it
Well-
is in essence the same course.
well, like, for example, we have, say, concert band 1, concert band 2.
Yes.
So does concert band 2 get?
Current, under the current structure, the second year, so accounting 1, accounting 2, accounting 3, accounting 2. We run those, we offer those 4 classes.
Right.
We typically only run accounting 1 and accounting 2 based on student interest. So accounting 1 is given the applied level,
Mhm.
accounting 2 is given the CP.
Right.
What we're proposing is to remove the mandate of the grade weight given to a second or third year of an elective course.
Okay.
That's all.
So band and jazz, they have a 1, a 2, a 3, and they also have an honors. So are we removing? So if you're not in the,
So that's where the designation of CP or honors comes in, that we're using the level designation of CP and honors to determine the grade's weight, as opposed to the year, how many times you've taken that course. That's all.
okay. So for English public speaking 2,
That's written under CP,
so, because we do offer an honors
correct?
public speaking 2.
Yes,
So if you don't get into the honors public speaking 2, and you get put in the public speaking 2, you've now lost the weight advantage that you had in,
no, because it's already designated as a CP.
well,
'Cause
2,
it's a second.
well, 2, according to this, would be, 1.25.
Yes,
So we're gonna designate 2 as, so how are we changing that then? If we're
So
gonna
all
designate
twos are 1.25?
no, all CPs are 1.25. So
So
if in
we're
the course,
designating it as a CP now.
if in the course designation, it's CP. So Spanish 2 is a CP course. So that's how it's weighted, unless you're taking Spanish 2 honors, then it gets the honors designation. We're taking away so that we can offer students
Mhm.
courses that, without labeling them as applied, we can offer multiple years of elective courses that, just because it's a second year or a third year course, that it's not automatically getting a bump. It's getting the appropriate weight based on the level that the course is written at.
So it's actually widening what we can offer our
Okay.
students.
Well, going back to the multivariable calculus 3.
Mhm.
What are we gonna, I mean, your requirement, your prereq is the A, B, and B, C of AP calculus. Are we
Yeah,
saying
so-
that's college prep now?
No,
Well, because
No, but-
it doesn't have an AP distinguisher.
right.
So then what are we
Mhm.
gonna give it as a value?
I don't remember the last time that we offered multivariable
Oh, no,
calculus
we
3.
do,
If
yeah,
it's-
No, that we've actually run the course.
yeah,
I can't recall.
yeah. Both of my kids took it. That's why I'm asking.
Understood.
Yeah, yeah,
But-
It's not being run frequently now.
okay. But-
So it would be an honors course.
Even though your prerequisites are your AP, AB.
But to
and
put
BC.
but if we put, right, but that would be a 3, which would put it at 1.375, which would
Which
be
is-
the same as honors.
But it was always accepted as an AP course. I'm just trying to figure out why.
Well, then if it was always accepted, we're not looking to change anything.
No, I
and
know,
remove
but
weight.
I just noticed, like, we have 1s, and then we have the 2s, and then the 2s, and then we're gonna get rid of the 2s. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to take the confusion out that
Right,
it all comes down to the way that the course is labeled. I can't label a course as an AP course. I
Right.
could put AP or equivalent, but I can't label a course on a transcript as an AP course that isn't endorsed by
the-
College
Of
Board.
course. So then, again, this is the last thing with the band, because that seems to be the big one. So you have band one, you have concert band one, concert band two, and so on. So we're not gonna go with concert band two anymore. We're gonna go concert.
Well, no,
concert
I
band
would,
CP, Because
would,
we have the honors version of it. So instead of labeling.
so
it
I would
two,
look at,
it's CP.
and not even, so I would look at all concert band as CP level, so that one isn't getting an applied level. Like, because according to this, unless there's a different designation, a level one is given an applied value.
Bless you.
So I'm trying to be able to handle weights
Right.
through the labeling and the curriculum, which is based on the rigor of the course.
To me,
So.
it sounds like there's confusion between.
Oh, it's
here.
very, and I'm just trying to figure out, so. And I'm not going against band, it was just easiest to pull that up. So concert band one would be considered. a
Applied.
Weighted scale.
The way it's written in here, that would be applied.
That's how it always worked. And then so concert band two would be.
CP.
CP, which would be the 1.25. And then three would be equal to honors.
Yes.
Okay,
Currently.
so then. If you,
Please, that was.
Currently.
yes.
In this
it was
policy,
so then if concert band two honors is then is weighted at honors. So we have the distinction between what concert band two and concert band two honors is, correct? So then when we get rid of that two in the labeling of,
when we get rid of the mandatory weight,
so we're gonna make concert band two, which is two now.
Yes.
It's gonna go back to applied weight.
no,
No.
College prep.
It's college prep.
College prep.
it would, which is
So
what
we
it is.
still have
But
the
what,
same weight.
but what we're able to do, so without, CP is not an attractive label
Right.
to put onto a transcript. Because CP implies to colleges that there is a higher level that is
That they could take.
available.
Correct,
So it looks like the child did not take the most rigorous
100%.
schedule.
right.
What this language is saying, the reason that I'm recommending that this be removed
Okay.
is because this is locking us in to a specific weighting based on the number of years that course was taken. I would prefer to handle that through the labeling honors AP and then evaluating the course in the course guide, putting the value of that course's weight and allowing students to take those.
Right, and I'm just, and I agree wholeheartely. I'm just trying to figure out how you're gonna weight 1 through 4 that's available to you.
Because we're evaluating the program of
Well, not weight,
studies
not
and all of
weight,
the,
how you would write the type, because we don't want to identify it as a CP course. And I
we don't
completely-
transcript it. We identify it as a CP course
So then
or
how
an
would it be
applied level
transcripted?
course. We don't want to put that on a
Oh,
transcript.
I agree with that.
So what I'm just suggesting that the mandatory locked in, oh, this is a second year of accounting, it must be CP. Where if we evaluate that we want accounting one,
Right. and
to
you
be a
could put
CP course.
Or you can offer, an applied and a CP version of it.
correct. And I
So-
would prefer to distinguish it that way as opposed to,
But we won't transcript it as that.
No.
So we will just transcript it as.
right, and we would set everything up in the system so that it figures out our weights.
But could you take the second year of, let's say, accounting in your junior year?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you can
mean,
take it whenever.
That's the confusion I'm hearing.
as long as you meet the prereq,
You have to have the first year,
yes.
which you would take in your.
But you could take
That one.
accounting one, no, you could take accounting one in the fall semester of your senior year and accounting two in the second
Okay.
semester of your
Okay,
senior.
that's okay.
Okay, so basically what I'm getting from it is that we'll disperse the 1 through 3. We'll identify, say, whatever classes being applied.
Yes, so weighted quality points on the page before with the level of the
We'll
course.
stay with whatever it is, but when okay, so let me see if I wrap my head around this. So because you guys have done an excellent job putting together those courses and breaking down the curriculums. So we still offer the CP level course. We still offer the honors level course, CP and applied. When it comes time to, then they will get the weighted grade of that CP level course. But when it gets transcribed and gets sent to whatever university it goes to, it does not go.
It would just say
over that.
accounting.
Just accounting, and then say accounting 2 or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's because I was just trying to figure out how we're not losing the weight, we're losing the title that we're going to be sending out to.
What
Got
all
it.
this is removing the mandate or through policy
Yeah.
that a course has to be weighted a specific way.
Right. So the weighting won't change. It's more the way in which we identify,
The weight of a course.
of course, too.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope. No, thank you.
Moving along to public participation.
Steve?
Steve? Anyone online? No one online. Okay. Moving on to advisory recommendations, motion to authorize and direct, I'm gonna read it the way it is. Motion to authorize and direct the administration to post the following policies: policy 101, policy 202, policy 214, and policy 832, with noted revisions for public review during the month of November and subsequent board action in December. Motion for that?
I'll motion it.
Second? For discussion?
There was no second.
That's what I'm asking. Is there a second for discussion?
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, so we have a second. Now, how would we like to proceed?
I would say that 101, 214, fine, but we take a longer look at 202, just to see if we can think of some alternate way to say things.
Maybe a table of
So we're in the middle of the motion. Help me out with Robert's rules. Do we have to deny that motion and then do a
Right.
We have
new
to vote, we have to
motion?
vote it down and
Then
then
vote it down.
we can vote down. all-
We have
Amended.
discussion, then we
No, we vote on it.
vote, and we can vote it down, then we can propose the next one.
Well, and I'm just gonna be the devil's advocate on that. We have a month for it. If this is.
It will, it's not going, it's just going on,
Right.
pass on to the board.
It's just gonna get passed
Review-
on to the board and,
and-
we know the superintendent is gonna do her due diligence in that month time to present possibly if there's other alternatives. And when it gets to the board, we don't have to vote for that policy.
That's
We
correct.
We can vote to table that policy. I think if we don't move to push this policy forward, the other board members aren't going to be able to see this
See it.
policy to be able to decide
Agree.
their own questions that
That's
they
why I
may
was-
have in the next. And so instead of pushing this to essentially maybe January or February vote, because it wouldn't be in December's. And then we would have to bring it back up for a vote again if we table it in January. And then the board would then look at it at the end of January, beginning of, or possibly February. So,
That was gonna be my suggestion, but thanks for beating me to it. Yeah, we, and
The other.
we have to, that was gonna be my suggestion. We have to, I think we should vote on this level to then, I
Let
will,
everyone
I can
have
reach
it.
out,
Okay,
we can reach out to.
I don't disagree with that.
right. And there's nothing stopping if one of us still feels that way to say, I want to table this one because such and such and so and so.
Right.
But I don't feel personally, I think more information would be presented, more options, and it's not just gonna be like,
We can't be the only people who are dealing with
that.
the
Right.
same issue.
Correct.
All right, so,
Just to be clear, we have vetted 15, 20 different school district policies locally, and none of them have language of this nature. So we spent months, look, Deb, right? Looking at this policy and deliberating it and going back and forth. This was not a, oh, this is annoying, let's just strike this out. We looked at PSBA, we looked at
I'd
neighboring.
like to see what others,
Okay.
when they handle this, there might be one or two, maybe it's just a small sentence that can tweak.
Okay, yeah,
So I'm okay moving it forward. All,
I'm okay.
Okay, so with that in mind, I call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to, our next meeting will be January 20th, 2025. Every month right here. 2026. Thank you. Well, that'd be hard. That'd be hard to go back to 2025.
although if you could do it, I'd be impressed.
And with a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Keith, I have to say, I think that is your longest.
Yeah.
I know, I was watching the clock.
55 minutes, my friend.
And which
On
is
three
good. I
policies.
mean, that's